Well, hello. Welcome back to Real WW Talk. I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Ladies, how was our week? Who goes first, Candice?
Erin, it's on you. Let's do it. You have all the energy today. Bring it on.
I was up a pound this week, but before you go, oh no, she's given up. I have not given up. I actually knew I could feel it in myself. I was gonna be up, and I actually texted you, ladies. I was like, I have killed it this week in my food and in my exercise. So I know I'm gonna gain weight this week. And I did. I was up a pound, but I knew that it was like hormonal and stuff. So I kept true. I did not, get disappointed and like blow my weeklies on the weekend. I just kept steady. We kept talking about consistency. And so I went, I'm not going to let this, pound up ruin me because I just know why I'm gaining a pound. So I'm just going to keep consistent. And then I weighed in at home this morning and I'm for sure down that pound and a smidge more. So
Yay. Bravo.
yes.
Yes. Well, how did it, because you were expecting it, did it change the way you went into weigh-in?
Well, it didn't change how I went into, I got on the scale at home and I could see from the scale at home that I would be more. And then sometimes the scale at home doesn't always match the scale at the WW Center, right? But if it's up, it's probably going to be up at the WW Center. But I just went, you know what? You had a great week. You have had a really good week. You have eaten well this week. You have tracked this week. You have exercised. And not only did I exercise, but I worked at our radio station this week. I worked on the air in the afternoons. I did my old shift, which meant I didn't get home till 8:00 at night. And I went, okay. To do that, I need to pack smartly because I have to pack lunch and I need to pack dinner. And I'm not going to give up on my exercise for these days. So I got up at 6 a.m. those mornings and I got on the treadmill and I worked out inside. So, we've been talking about the consistency and rebuilding our consistency. And I just wasn't going to sacrifice that, even though my work schedule changed in the week. And then Friday, I had an all-day conference. And I came home from the conference and I didn't get home till about 7:00 and I went outside and I went for a walk. I didn't do like a big major walk, but I went for a walk. And so every day last week, I got, I don't know, somewhere around 8,000 steps each day. So
that's amazing. And I bet you felt like so much more energized throughout the day because you think getting up earlier, you'd think that wouldn't help you stay energetic. But did you find that because you worked out and you got that done, you just had like extra pep in your step?
I did. I actually found myself during the day almost like, do you ever get that feeling in your legs? I don't like restless leg or whatever, like you need to move, like I need to get up and I need to move. And I found my legs wanting to like do squats. And I'm like, when was the last time my legs wanted to do squats? Wild.
Some progress there.
Yeah, there's a lot of wins, Erin, a lot of them. I like the fact that you didn't minimize your walk. I was about to catch you. I was waiting for you to try to minimize it. But you said, I went on a walk after a long day. It doesn't matter if it was short or long. The fact was that you kept consistent with your routine. I mean, that's where I'm trying to make sure that I stay, is in that headspace. So kudos to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. Rikki?
Well, I think I'm going to give myself credit for the things I did well last week. I lost a pound, but I feel like Erin deserved it.
Wait, did you just say you lost a pound?
But it's like, how we don't always get the weigh-in we deserve the week we deserve it. I lost a pound and I felt like the behaviors I had the nights before weren't necessarily like behaviors that get the scale to go down, if that makes sense.
Right. But it was the night before, right?
It was. So I went back to work Thursday and I did not feel like heating up anything at home. So Thursday and Friday night, I ate like a takeout, which is usually higher in sodium. So I'm saying it didn't quite make sense that I was down.
But did you have 6 good days out of 7?
Well, it was 2 nights in a row that I had that.
It's like
Okay.
Erin 7 minus 5, right?
Okay.
That's
So
5.
you had
Right.
5,
Starting school, so I got to practice the math.
5 positive days out of 7 then?
Okay. I honestly, I've been back at work 3 days and I can't remember last week.
I know where you're going with this, Erin.
No,
like
I
I know
do.
what you're trying to pull out, which is
No,
like,
I do too. I'm just like, I'm trying to remember honestly everything that happened. Like, I think I did a lot of relaxing.
I've just never heard somebody sound so disappointed that they lost a pound.
Oh, I wasn't disappointed. I just didn't feel like I did. Like, I went into it knowing that I was like at a period of like, I just started back at work. I got a lot of stress. I'm going to let myself go through a drive-through or something like that. And I made those choices thinking I would be gaining. So when the scale said I'd be down, I was down a pound. I was not anticipating it. I was happy, but I was like, this doesn't feel like I deserved it.
Gotcha. Can I just ask you something real quick based on what you just said too? You said you went through the drive-through expecting to gain.
Well, I think when I'm making a choice like that at the end of the week, I still have that all or nothing mentality sometimes where I feel like if I'm making this choice on a Thursday or a Friday night, I'm not necessarily thinking like, oh, I'll just make this one choice for this meal and everything's going to be fine. I'm usually in the mindset of I've thrown myself down the rest of the steps.
Okay. Okay. So the 1 pound that you did lose, yay.
Yes.
Doesn't come with a comfortable feeling because you don't feel proud. The most recent choice that you made, you don't feel proud of.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But it did give me, I will say, a more positive outlook going into Saturday. It's like, I'm going to run with this, let me take whatever momentum I can get, I'm going to track everything over the weekend, make sure that I'm, like you were saying, so it kind of had the same effect with a different behavior. So I was happy about that I was like, okay, it's not like I'm starting the weekend feeling bad about it, but it's like, it's a fresh start.
It's kind of like when you get something from the mall or that it's on sale, or you didn't think that it was on sale, but you get to the register and it's cheaper and you're like, I'm going to walk out of here, but I'm going to wear this. I'm going to make it worth it that I got this outfit. But I can understand why it probably was like, yeah, thanks. I'm happy for the pound. Yeah. But you don't know what I ate yesterday.
Right. You must not have been caught up.
Right.
But the scale is not caught up yet. Because I've had those weigh-ins too, Rikki, where you're like, you said I was down 2? Oh, that's very nice. Okay. I didn't even check the scale because I was expecting to not be down.
And it was one of those weeks where I honestly thought about not weighing in. I don't know if you guys have done that where you've been like, it's been a tough week. I know the scale's going to be bad. I weighed in at home. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not ashamed. Like I might need for my mental health to say, I'm not going to face it this week. I'm going to, and I don't want to say it like that. Like I'm not going to face it. Like I'm hiding from it. But I think there are some weeks where you're kind of like, I'd like to take a break from the scale. I'm going to focus on, what else? What am I doing well? Am I doing the best practices of WW? And that should matter because the scale, if me looking at that number makes me feel like, throwing in the towel, then maybe it's not worth looking at a number this week.
Yeah. I've also been the one where I went in and I was scared to step on the scale and I got my guts up and I stepped on it and I was ready for them to say 6 pounds up or something. And then they're like, you're up a pound, and they're like, it's okay. And I'm like, a pound?
A pound? That's like,
are you serious? Like, this is the best thing ever. And they're like, no, it's okay. I said, no, this is not, I'm not upset. I thought I was up 6. You don't understand. I deserve 6. This is great. So you never know. The scale can surprise you. They can definitely surprise. That's why it's such a fickle indicator of like how your week actually went.
Yeah. So, Rikki, can I just real quick ask you, how did the beginning of your week
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm like, feel like I have amnesia or something because it was, I don't think it was terrible. I tracked. I was a little bit lazier. Like I didn't exercise very much. I didn't want to lose my Peloton streak, so I did like 1 or 2 workouts in the beginning of the week, and then that was it. So I feel like I was laying around a lot,
Okay.
and I didn't move a whole lot. I was just relaxing because I knew that was coming up, and I think I was snacking, but I don't remember exactly like details of it because I was just busy with getting ready for school. My mental mind space was just in preparation mode.
Yeah. Okay. I guess my part that I'm trying to figure out and think through for you and like drill in is, are we focusing literally on one meal the day before weigh-in because it's the most fresh
No, I
thing,
think
and not thinking about what could have been or what was
no, I don't think I
overall?
would have been so hard on myself if it really was just only those 2 days at the end of the week. I think there were other like things that was like, oh, I probably should have tracked a bigger serving for this and that, like BLT kind of things throughout the week.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can understand, kind of, Erin, what your thoughts are, is that sometimes we do focus so much on what happens at the end of the week
Mhm.
and negate a lot of the stuff that happens earlier,
Mhm.
when you're looking at the whole week.
And I think it goes to show too, like we've had the conversations about using all of our weeklies on the weekends. And like
Mm.
one simple change is not using all of our weeklies on the weekend gives us such a jump start for the rest of the week that we can get to the place on Saturday and actually lose weight and go, wow, okay. Right.
Right.
Yes.
What about you, Candice?
Well, I won my step bet. I'm sorry. This is just it's like I got, my step bet. I've been doing that. I talked about that in some of the other episodes that we've done, but it ended this week and I won. So I was averaging before my step bet. I was telling you I was having trouble with moving because I always felt I've done step bets in the past. And somehow I thought like, I don't really need them. I can just, now that I'm on a streak, I can just go, go, go. But my steps were slowly decreasing. And so I got into one and now I'm averaging about 9,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And on top of my initial bet, so many people dropped out and I won $8.01.
That is a jackpot.
I am almost able to take you guys to Five Guys and get a celebratory. I mean, I need to win a couple more before I can get enough for all 3, but I certainly could split a burger bowl for both of you. So that's my goal, just to say thank you for the support. So I was very excited about that. And the scale was down. I was happy, but it was more so the intentionality of moving my body throughout the day, because there were many days I didn't feel like moving.
Yeah.
And I did it. So I was proud.
Well, and the other thing too, that is we keep talking about the discipline and consistency. It's rebuilt up some consistency for you, right?
Definitely. And that feels good because exercise and movement makes me not only feel good, but it helps my blood pressure because I've struggled with blood pressure. It helps me feel just more energetic. And it's something that I can measure that's not just the number on the scale. It's like I'm looking for other things that are within my control to kind of look at how I'm growing. And so that my stamina is better. So all of those things I'm trying to really make big deals for me.
Yeah.
As opposed to just,
Those are all a big deal. Just thinking about all the health benefits, and it sounds like energy and all of those things that just create positive, lifestyle changes. And that's amazing. You should be very excited and proud about that.
Yeah, because my number one thing has always been, honestly, I have been Candice who's been focused on the scale for the majority of my WW journey. That's how I measure success. If the scale goes down, I know I had a good week, or I know that I am being good, or everything is okay. I've never been truly embracing those other metrics. I say it because it sounds nice and everyone nods their head when you say, well, you should look at your inches and you should look at your blood pressure. But I never internalized it. I was like, yes, that's great. What did the number on the scale say this week? So that I can know if I had a good week or not.
So that brings up a really interesting thing that I would love for us to talk maybe a little bit more if you guys are okay with it. Like, what does it mean when we say, I had a good week? Because so much of, at least I feel when I say, oh, I had a good week, is all based on what does the scale say when I weigh in. And that is the determining factor of my week.
And no diss to WW because we've talked about it, but that is, I almost feel like that's what I hear the weigh-in people say. They're like, you had a good week, you know, and it's based on the number going down. Or if you didn't, they get really quiet and they whisper and they do the, it's okay. You know, you're like, I guess that means I had a horrible week. So
in my case, a weight gain for this week is not indicative of my week. I had a great week and I came into the scale knowing and feeling like I was going to be up a little bit. And I had already determined in my mind and told you guys, I know that I'm going to be up, but I'm not going to be down about being up because I know the work that I did. I know the work that I put into it. And
what was the work, Erin, that you were saying that was like, this is what makes it a good week?
For me, this past week, it was exercise. I had exercise and food were aligned. I didn't overeat. I did not sit down. That's another thing. That's a great question, Candice. I've noticed that I had been in the evening sitting down with chips or sitting down with some kind of a snack. And I've stopped doing that. At the end of every meal, I've been eating a piece of fruit. That's been my sweet thing. So I haven't really had any types of sweets. And when I have one, a little something sweet, I have like a little bag of dried fruit and I go grab like a tablespoon of dried cranberries, which for me tastes like candy.
But I was waiting for you to talk about your carrots. I really was waiting for you.
Oh, my vacation carrot. Well, I wasn't on vacation this week, so no vacation carrots. And if anybody has missed out on us talking about, they are carrots that are crinkle cut and cut on the bias, and I only get them for special occasions. They're fun carrots, as opposed to baby carrots, which are everyday carrots.
So plain old baby carrots. You have to, yes.
Well, what I think about with what you're saying, Erin, is that how many times, like, I just imagine being in the meeting room and someone who had a week like you had, where it's like, I did everything right.
Yes.
Imagine them. I know I've heard this. I'm not thinking of one person in particular, but saying, I thought I had a good week. It's like, well, you did everything you were supposed to do. But now this one measure has come in and it's just defining your week and overshadowing all of the amazing things that you did. So I think that's something important to think about and talk about, because that's how we think when we go in that door.
Well, and I think also go ahead, Erin.
I was going to say, I know that I've done that. I have said that. Like, I know, I don't understand why. And sometimes I think it's because I want this number. I want it to be down so desperately that when it doesn't happen, it's like, this thing isn't working.
Yeah. And I think I've also heard people, when you ask them, how did your week go? They'll be like, I'll let you know. We'll see. I'm like, no. How do you feel right now? I'll let you know. I don't know yet. I won't know until I step. And that's really kind of tragic that all of the effort of the past 7 days, dwindles down to a number that could be based on so many different things. Because to me, a successful week is defined usually for me is tied to exercise. Like if I feel like I have been consistent with moving my body, and also not really run by sweets, because sweets are my thing. If I feel like I've been in control of my cravings because I've been honoring my boundaries with my points and moving my body, I'm like, this week to me was successful. And that should mean forget the scale. Obviously, it's a tool. Obviously, I'm here to lose weight, but I've honored my boundaries and I've moved my body. and that should be enough. And the scale, and even rethinking about what the success is, because sometimes I'd be even upset. And we've talked about it in the meetings. Everybody is ready to pounce on the person who says, I only lost 0.2. And they're like, only, don't you say only, you use
Right.
the O word. And you're like, okay, but I worked out every single day. I was expecting more weight loss. So that's hard. You know, when you are using the scale as the only way to have success.
But yet it's the measurement tool that WW uses to determine your success. It's that whole, vortex.
It's how you get a charm.
Well, they used to have. Do you guys remember in the app there used to be spaces for you to input your measurements? And so you could see, do you remember that?
I
So
did.
it used to be in the app, so you could, it was kind of hard to navigate, but it was like
Clearly,
a
I
tab.
never did it.
There was like a tab and you could see the different measurements, and it was a graph. So like they would plot the points. So what I loved about that is just like with the weight, ideally that goes down. You could see the measurements and how they would go down too. And sometimes maybe they would decline quicker than the weight did.
But they never gave you charms for it.
You're right.
Just saying, they only ever give you charms for weight loss. And if I could just give them a little hint, I'm just saying that I understand that for like monetary reasons, because they give you lifetime, which is free. If you hit a certain goal, that there has to be a weight thing and everybody is here to lose weight. But I just feel like in the whole holistic view, why can't we play up some of the other things?
I agree. Yeah.
Well, I wonder, I think WW's been making a lot of improvements to the app, even with the tracking, right? The new tracking badges and things. So, maybe that is something that'll start coming down the line, because we look at how much things have changed since we started doing it. Maybe sometime soon. Who knows?
Yeah.
Have there ever been things that you all have not been willing to do for, in honor, or to change the scale so that you could feel like you had a good week, so that it could fit that normal good? Or
Like what?
Like,
give us an example.
So I think I told you I struggled when I lost 50 pounds. I was not pleased with how I did it. I got all the external validation in the world, but I started to try to control the scale. So even if I had a week where I felt my body telling me that I may not have a loss, I would do unhealthy practices that I won't say here, nothing too crazy, but things that I knew that weren't healthy, saunas and other things, to try to get the number to go down so that I could have that good week. And it became a slippery slope, and something where I said, you know what, I need to talk to somebody about this, because this is becoming obsessive. This is becoming unhealthy. And why is it that I'm so obsessed with this number and with this measure that I am starting to actually harm myself, even though I'm getting the validation from my program and from people? But I know internally it's not right. So maybe you all haven't gone to that extreme, but have you ever found yourself wanting to not go out with friends on a Friday to dinner because you know you have weigh-in the next day, or other things?
I know. So for me, it was smoothies. I went through a period where I was doing smoothies, and I did them for like a different reason. I wasn't intending to do it for weight loss, but I lost like 7 pounds in a week. And I think I lost, after the whole period of me doing that, I think I lost maybe 15 pounds. It came right back on, but again, I was doing it for a different reason. But I think sometimes I think of those extremes and I think, oh, I could just go back to doing a smoothie, fast, and I can just have smoothies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's like, that was extreme. That was not the purpose of that. Like, let me not focus on an extreme. Like anything that involves an extreme of like extreme restriction I don't want to do, because I think I could easily fall into a trap of like, oh, I see success with it, let me keep doing it, even though, I might feel lightheaded, or I might feel, I might not be getting all the nutrients I need. So I could see that being a problem for me. So I've kind of tried to stay away from that.
I did the for a little while, it was I don't really want to go out on Friday night because I know I'll get on the scale and I'll be really disappointed to see a gain when I worked hard the previous week. And I finally came to a place of, I need to be doing this in freedom. This is one more, I've said from the very beginning, the reason why I joined WW was to start to live free, because
Yeah.
I had so much happening in my brain. The things that I was telling myself, I would never, ever say out loud for anybody to hear, or say them out loud to someone else. And to get out of, I called it the merry-go-round of negativity, self-talk, self-negative talk. It was like a merry-go-round. I had to continuously imagine myself pulling on the brakes of the merry-go-round so that I could hop off. And I'm doing this program to give myself more freedom. And so anything now that limits that freedom, I kind of have this, I've got this resistance to, even when I hear people talk about what you were saying, Rikki, eliminating foods, or, I think we had somebody ask us a question that we brought in like last week or the week before about, doing real quick kind of dive bomb elimination things to reach a number on the scale. And the program for me is all about what is real life, what is attainable, and what's maintainable. So while I had done some of those practices before, because that's what I knew, I haven't done them in a really long time, because I don't want to manipulate myself or manipulate the scale anymore.
And Erin, that's very powerful, because you know what has helped me get to your point, because I'm doing WW for the same reason.
Yep.
I want that freedom. But one of the things that I gave myself permission to say is there's no time frame. I don't have to be to goal by a certain time, because I think I was I was focused on maybe those restrictive behaviors when I was trying to hit goal in 6 months. Or I was comparing myself to other people who lost 100 pounds in a year and they were losing every single week. When I said, okay, it's going to come off when it comes off. This is for life. It allows you to really adopt healthier behaviors and to see your week differently.
Yes.
Because even if you don't hit the number, you're like, I have so many more weeks ahead of me, because this never ends.
So on that topic, I feel like that's an interesting topic to go into. We have different deadlines that we set for ourselves, or milestones, or, sometimes our motivation in joining is like an event that's coming up. But how do you guys feel about putting deadlines on yourself? And because I know some people it works, and some people, they have a deadline, they set it for themselves, they get to it and it's done. But others, it's like you set the deadline, it doesn't happen, and then it's like a cycle. What do you guys think?
I think that I understand why people have those measures, and it's something like a goal to hit. I think, Erin, you were talking about wanting to, increase your strength by something next year. But see, there's a difference to me between a weight goal and a goal that is attainable based on my actual effort. So like if it's like, I want to consistently move my body every day up until this wedding. For me, I'm looking more for goals like that, because the weight goals to me are the reason why I don't do what they call diet bets, where it's like you need to lose this a certain amount by this time. Because
I can't do a diet bet.
Yeah, I can't control the scale, and it's going to trigger me to do behaviors that I used to do to try to control the scale. So I think for those who maybe don't feel I just think the scale is very fickle. I think you should focus on the things that you can actually control: movement, water, the actual, staying within your blue dots or staying within your points. Those are actual things. I don't know. The number worries me, because I'm like, what are you willing to do to make that number happen?
Right.
Yeah. I again, we've all been doing these things for losing weight since we were all like 8, right? And it used to be, yes, the number, and I've got to get to whatever number is, because that's also a lot of what we see in the marketing on TV, right? Lose 20 pounds by summer, get bikini ready, right? And all of those things are all about trying to drop the weight fast. And there's a mental shift, and really it's, what are you coming to this to do? Are you coming to 2W to get did I say W or WW?
I was going to say they changed their name again.
It's just one. They're like, we're just W now. It's done. Are you coming to this for a quick fix, or are you coming to this to make a difference in your life? And those are two very different mental things. Candice, I completely identify with what you're saying about, I'm not going to put a limit on this, because same thing for me is I'm undoing years and years of weight loss trauma, if that's the word that we want to use around it, right?
Yeah.
Where I am right now, the question that I'm asking myself is, how do I want to feel by this date? So I'm going to be traveling again at the very end of September. And then I'm traveling again, I think, at the end of May. And when I travel at the end of May, I'm going to be going to this week-long conference. And a part of this conference is I'm going to be doing some grunt work and, putting up some displays and lifting things and hauling things around, right? So I'm going to be doing some definite physical labor. When I get there in May, I want to be able to do all of that energetically, happily, going the extra mile. I do not want to have to be taking breaks. I don't want, sweat popping out of my forehead in the most obscene way, like it can be. I'll never forget when we had what we affectionately call Snowmageddon. That was a decade ago, and it was 2 blizzards back to back. And I was snowed in at the radio station for an entire week. And we had to shovel a 50-foot path to our satellite dishes to clear the snow off of the satellite dishes multiple times a day. And it was 3 feet of snow outside. And I felt like the one day I was going to have a heart attack. And I thought, I am 28 at this point, 29, and I can't. I mean, it was strenuous, but I can't shovel snow to do this, right? Like, I felt like a failure. I'm like, I don't ever want to feel that way again. So what I ask myself now is, how do I want to feel by this date? When I get to this date, am I going to be proud of myself for the efforts that I made, or am I going to be disappointed once again? And it's really completely within my power how I'm going to feel that day.
And you know what else, Erin and Rikki, both, I think that we need to, one thing that I do accept and understand and respect is that, how we brought up that we've all been doing this since we were 8, right? We have food issues. We have trauma and things we're working on. There are people who are doing this plan who don't have the issue with food. They're like, I just put on a few pounds. I just kind of want to get them off. I want to make a goal for 25 pounds because I'm not like really triggered by food. I just kind of got out of control and needed a plan to help. So I respect that. That's not my journey. So I understand that for some of those people who may be on that, and even some who may be listening to us, it may not be that big of a deal. Right. They're like, it's really just not that big of a deal. And we're like, but think about it. Just think about all the emotions. But I think that that's something that I've had to also accept, is that people are in different places in their journey. And while they may not understand that there's a lot of reasons why I cannot do a diet bet or I cannot make those weight goals, I understand why it would make sense for you to say, this is something that's fun for me to work towards. This is motivating for me to do. And then once they hit it, they are able to maintain it because they're like, I learned a new skill. I'm proud of you. a little bit jealous.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a good reminder,
Yes.
Candice, not to compare, that even between the three of us, our journeys are our own, and even though we have so many similarities, it's why we can talk for hours about all of this. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves to each other, and we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to other people who lose the weight quicker or who achieve, big milestones, small milestones. Everyone is different, and they're going to achieve it in a different way than we do.
I remember we had a woman in our shop. She's about our age, Michelle. She had a baby. She came in, she lost the baby weight, and that was it. And then the next time she had a baby, she came back because the program worked, took the baby weight off, and that was it. Anytime we saw her, we're like, "Oh, you just had a baby, didn't you, girl?" Right? and that's what it was. It was simply the tool to help her do that.
Meanwhile,
Right?
we're outside going, how do I unlearn the things that my dad said to me at 4?
Right.
But to your point, Rikki, I was jealous of a member like that. Like, why is it that they can just come in and be very dedicated and it just comes off and they're like, what, like it's hard,
Right.
and that's it. But I understand that that's just not my journey, and I have to be able to do it my way. And I think that if you do have respect for everybody's journeys, there's things that you can learn. You can learn when they don't have all the emotional trauma. What are they focused on doing? And then, yeah.
I'll be completely honest that early on in the journey, for me, I did not respect everyone's journey. And I remember looking at some people who were in the meeting room that were there for years, that were overweight, and going, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be sitting there and sharing every week and talking about how I lost a pound, but then they wouldn't share the next week when they gained 5 pounds, right? Like, and every week they'd show up and they were still overweight. I'm like, I'm not going to be that. And here I am still showing up every week and not at the goal, but I understand it now. Because it's better to be here and be in the room and still be doing the journey, even at 50%, than being 0%. I wish that I could go back and smack myself earlier for being so judgmental and for not having the grace to be able to see those women who were there still fighting for themselves. That was unfair.
Erin, I that was me too.
Yeah.
And I saw it as a competition. I was like, I'm going to come and lose it so quick and then be like, oh, it took you a year too. Oh, it took me 6 months. But Erin, that's true. There was judgment. I honestly was judging. And then I became what I was judging.
I can relate to that too. And also comparing my amount that I had to lose. It's like, well, I have to lose 100 pounds. What do you have to? You only have to lose 10 pounds. Why are you even here? And that I shame on me for thinking that too, because I think I've fallen in the category with you guys of having that misunderstanding of people who were there every single week, but also people who didn't have a lot to lose. But it's like a journey is a journey. And if I would never now say, oh, you only have 10 pounds to lose. I would love to lose 10 pounds right now,
Did I ever tell you all that my mom, I looking back on it, I fully think she did it for me. She joined Weight Watchers at the time and was like, I just really want to do this program. No, you read some story that says that if your daughter's overweight, to prove to her that you believe and are understanding and accepting, join her program. But she had to lose 5 pounds. And I remember being like, so you want to join Weight Watchers to lose 5 pounds? And she was like, it's just so stubborn. It just won't come off, right? And to, like you said, Rikki, to minimize it, I didn't mean to, but she hit goal. And I said, okay.
Why does 5 pounds seem different from the 10 I gave? I'm like, 5, really? Sorry.
I was like, congrats, Mom.
What'd you say?
I said, so you're going to get to lifetime. Like, I was having a very hard time because she was just talking about how, it's such a wonderful, lovely program. And I really understand the struggle. It's not wrong. Okay. Because some people have to lose 5 pounds. But I promise you that I had a hard time because I couldn't understand.
Isn't there like a 10-pound minimum or something? I thought there was a minimum or something, and I thought it was like more
I
than
feel like it took her 2 weeks, and then she hit lifetime. And she was like, I've been a lifetime member.
She's like, I'm free now.
And she's free. And so she tells people about her time that she was on this plan and she really struggled. And sorry, I went a little off topic.
But now you're judging her, though.
I'm judging, right? And that's my mom.
Yes.
And my thing is, she's never had a weight problem, but she had to lose 5. And gosh darn it, if she didn't use WW to lose it. And I'm proud of her.
But Candice, it's the first time you made me cry on this show where it's happy tears.
But I'm like, I lost 5 pounds this week and I still have 100 to go. But that's awesome. I'm really glad that you can relate.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks,
for the
Mom.
support.
And she was like, and I was telling your father, I mean, these women, there's really a lot emotional. Like people share some emotions. So
You know he didn't make her eat an egg roll. You know that.
I'm sure they had a whole conversation, but the whole time I was like, you only joined this program because you read somewhere that you're supposed to support your children when you feel like they have weight issues. But I appreciate you, Mom.
She was there to support you.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. You had not shared that story before. That
Yeah, because when she stepped on the scale and they were like, you're at goal, she was like, big face. Okay. 5 pounds. Okay. Sorry.
Congrats, Mom.
Congrats,
But
Mom.
somebody's 5 pounds can feel like 100 pounds to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what she said.
Yeah, it can. We don't know the mental struggle that someone's going through with it, or, you know, even what that 5 pounds represents. And this is going to sound weird, but I had shared, I don't know how many episodes back that I had a coworker that was inappropriately touching me. And that caused me some very significant, obviously, mental anguish. And a part of that was I gained weight. And it was altogether about 15 pounds that I gained as a part of this larger, 50 pounds that I had to lose. But I took it in those chunks of the 15 pounds, and saying that I needed to lose 15 pounds to someone sounds small. But to me, that 15 pounds represented shedding him, shedding what I gained because of what was happening in my mind. And it was like, once I got to the number where life was good before him, it was like I released something in my brain, So that's what I try to think. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. Like, a lot of times my immediate reaction is, you've got 10 pounds to lose. I'm like, what? But I don't know the weight of that 10 pounds to them. The weight of that could be 100 pounds. For me, those 15 pounds were a millstone around my neck that I could not seem to get off me fast enough. Once I had finally come to grips with everything,
Yeah. And to her credit, for my mom, she was always the thin girl and always, never had a weight issue. And I think that she really did feel like this is, like Erin said, for her, it was, she could not get it off. And I think she really was proud of herself, but you can't help but look at yourself and be like, the comparison happens, but and that's what we're talking about. Even on the other extreme, somebody who it takes too long, you have to stop with the comparison, because you don't know people's journey. You have no clue.
So looking forward, what does it look like for you right now to say, I had a good week?
So I just keep going back to, this is a long-winded answer, but I keep going back to, I was thinking about this when you were talking, Erin. I need to be in the moment. I need to be present in the moment, because I spend too much time thinking, when will I get to goal? How long is this going to take? And meanwhile, I make good choice, and just to use the good choice, bad choice, even though we know that's not the best lingo, but did I make a good choice, bad choice, bad choice, good choice, like if I in those moments, if I'm making more quote unquote good choices than bad, I will get to my goal quicker versus thinking about like having a negative spiral of, I made a bad choice. I'm going to keep going down this spiral and just dragging out the journey. I can make the journey, like you guys are saying, it doesn't matter how long it takes. But if I'm more in the moment thinking about making the next best choice, I think then I can make this journey get to it. There's not an end point necessarily, but get to goal quicker. So that's what I'm thinking. Just make the next best choice when it comes mainly to food choices.
I love that, Rikki. Do the next right thing. That's something I posted last week, and I fully believe that. So I think that's a wonderful way to frame a week. And I think for me, it's more accountability. I find that I talked about, the exercise and stuff, but where I don't run from my decisions, whatever they are, I think for me is a successful week, because it's my nature when I'm not proud of something to hide and to stop tracking. That's why I haven't won an award yet in the WW app, because there's some meal that I forget to track, but that's important to say, I'm going to be accountable to me, no matter what the points are, I'm going to put them in. I don't care if it's 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'm going to go and do the exercise. So accountability to me is a successful week.
Yeah. I see that in you. I see that happening for both of you. I think for me, a successful week is, can I stand at the scale and say, you know what, I had a good week, regardless of what the number says. Yeah, I'm proud of my effort this week. And to be able to say that I'm proud of myself, that to me is the signal for a good week.
And now we get to practice it at our next weigh-in when somebody is in line and says, how did your week go, Erin? How'd your week go, Rikki? We're not going to say, I'll let you know in a few minutes.
Right.
I'll say I'm proud of myself for when I stand on the scale. Rikki will say, you know what? I lived in the moment this week. And Candice will go, I didn't hide
everything.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for us today. It was a good conversation, Rikki, and that was a good question to ask too. Yeah. I love this. Well, we wish you a really great week on plan, and that you are striving and digging in and heading to your goals. And we'd love to hear your thoughts too about what makes a successful week for you. And if maybe things have changed in how you view what a successful week is, we'd love for you to share in the Real WW Talk Facebook group. You can find us on Facebook, just search Real WW Talk. And then of course our Instagram, YouTube, and the podcast. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, we did put up a bonus episode, the very first Real WW Talk episode. We've put that up as the podcast as well as on YouTube as well. So if you
on YouTube, I saw my little baby. He's so tiny. He's so tiny. Okay, sorry.
I know. You get to see, this is before I cleaned everything up and painted, and
I was living somewhere else. two houses ago.
Yes. Look at how much life has changed in 1 year.
I tell you.
Amazing. All right. Well, have a great week, and we'll catch you in the Real WW Talk Facebook group. Bye.
Bye.